WCW 2000 or WWE 2021? You decide. They seem so goddamn similar. They're both controlled by Vinces that seem to have lost their goddamn minds. I'm John Renton with my review of WWE Raw, except that's a little bit unfair because WCW in 2000 had a Vince in charge that had no business being in wrestling, while WWE in 2021 is controlled by a Vince that used to have really creative ideas, but he's throwing the towel. Except before he threw in the towel, he took the goddamn towel and wiped it on his ass and balls and in every goddamn orifice he had and that Bruce Pritchard, Kevin Dunn, and Johnny Ace had put together, and then decided to rub it in the fans' faces and say, hey, how do you fucking like that? Well, you know what, Vince? Only the diehards are going to stick around because diehards are going to continue to support the wrestlers we fucking care about, even though this show is in the fucking goddamn shitter, and no amount of flushing is going to make it any goddamn better. We're not getting clean water out of this, and it's a real goddamn shame. Yeah, this show was goddamn shit. Really goddamn shit. And there were a few parts where I was like, okay, maybe they actually have something. No, this was a really, really bad show. It was thrown together. There was one point where we had no wrestling for like 45 fucking minutes on a 3-hour wrestling program, and I get it. You can't just have match, especially on a 3-hour show. But what the fuck was this? Tag match heavy. Seriously, so many goddamn tag matches. They really just threw shit at the wall. It was like a New Japan Road 2 show, except not nearly as interesting because there aren't enough interesting storylines, especially on Raw. And any interesting storylines they have are basically just, you know, crapped on. I mean, they're just totally crapped on, totally shit on, until the fans just won't goddamn care about. I mean, what the fuck was this goddamn show? How is this show on Monday so goddamn bad? Oh, right, Vince McMahon is being enabled by Bruce Pritchard and a whole bunch of other yes men that aren't willing to tell him, hey, Vince, this is a really bad idea. Vince McMahon has no idea how to put together a cohesive 3-hour show, nor does he care anymore. You don't have to give the fans what they want every single goddamn time. Just give the fans reasons to tune in, except out of habit. If you just do it where people are going to be watching out of habit, you're down to the diehards. And even then, some people are leaving or just watching the clips. So anyway, Braun is talking to Drew backstage. And Braun seems to get confused by words that don't involve guns, meat, or insurrection attempts. Yeah, Proud Boy Braun can piss the fuck off. So why were Dijak and Dio dressed as the 2005 Road Warriors? Or like the Ascension, the Ass-Ension, if you will. And Dio and Dijak, that's what I'm calling them because Mason T-Bar are stupid names. These guys have potential. They look good. And I don't know what the fuck they're doing here. Them as a tag team doesn't bother me, but this is just really bad. The group that calls themselves Retribution was a bad idea, and this just further proves that, oh yeah, the masks and everything were really goddamn shit. I don't know what the point of Retribution was. Maybe it's just to make us not care about any of these guys, because they're going to need a total rebrand. And I'm talking like they're going to have the shit scrubbed off of them till at least Survivor Series. It's going to take a while. So Braun basically tells Drew to stay in the back because, hey, I don't need you. And then after a few minutes, Dio and Dijak take over. And they're beating up Braun in the corner and there's too much ass kicking. So the ref calls a DQ and then Drew shows up. And cut. And then we come back into the tag match. A cohesive unit. I think everybody, you know, was a eunuch by this point because it seems like everybody was ballless and everything, you know, because nobody has the balls to stand up to Vince and say, Vince, go home, you stupid, dumb old man, you out-of-touch piece of shit. He's worse than Verne Gagne by this point because Verne Gagne never had the money that Vince McMahon had. I mean, granted, Vince McMahon in the 80s didn't have the money that Vince McMahon has now. This company is making so much goddamn money, and I do have a question for a show like this. How in the world does Vince think, or anybody in charge think, that they're going to be able to draw crowds for Raw and SmackDown events should they start touring? Because if they're putting on shows like this, and SmackDown hasn't been all that great either. It's been okay, but it's been more of a maintenance show. NXT hasn't been all that great either. They really should just shoot TV in the Thunderdome forever. Just shoot it there forever and draw, or you know, maybe have like, you know, a Raw after Mania crowd, a Raw after SummerSlam, a Raw after the Rumble, that kind of stuff, and just have the pay-per-views be like, you know, in select cities. Because at this point, the wrestling audience has gone down so dramatically, I don't think they're going to be able to draw crowds. And if they do, they'll draw like one crowd, maybe, like a half-capacity crowd, and then they'll see this and they won't want to goddamn see it again. And I feel the same way about AEW and stuff like that. It's like producing television that's so, you know, that's like on a goddamn pendulum where it's like good to bad and then kind of just sell somewhere in the middle. If you can't have consistently average to good TV, you're not going to be able to draw crowds long enough. Anyway, so Verk mentions, we're on the tracks. We need a bigger boat. I'm just going to say it right now, and I know it takes time for people. I don't think this is going to work for Adnan Verk. He's still better than Michael Cole. I mean, then again, I could, try to resurrect a goddamn body that's been dead for 20 years, and it would be better than Michael Cole on commentary. Oh, by the way, a count out for Dio and Dijak in a really bad, stagey way, where it's like obvious Drew could have got back in, and not good. Braun then lays out Drew, I tried to help you. No, you fucking didn't. He tried to help you, you goddamn Proud Boy fucker. Anyway, then Drew wants Braun in the worst way. Action in the main event. Why is Miz TV a thing? Why is the Jackson Rectionist still here? Cracker Commander Riker, if you will. The voice of Johnny Drip Drip, and it was right there where I said, why did John Morrison come back to WWE besides for the money? What is with his hair? Why the fuck is this a thing? What did Elias do to deserve this? Why is Cracker Commander Riker still there, yet, a whole bunch of good people got fired? What the fuck is this? Priest shows up, then New Day is here. They throw tomatoes at the bad guys. It was at this point where I said, cool. We're having a food fight for no goddamn reason, and it's not even the Thanksgiving episode. It's not Halloween. It's not any of that. It's not the Christmas episode where we're just going to waste food while families are starving. Nope, let's just throw tomatoes. Throw tomatoes. Why the fuck not? I think the audience would have thrown tomatoes at everybody had there been a live audience there, because this was a really bad show. Tomatoes. The fuck? Anyway, Priest and New Day versus Miz, Elias, and Cracker Commander Riker. I'm going to keep calling him that, by the way, until he apologizes for being an embarrassment. Just like anybody that feels the way he does, you're all fucking embarrassments to not just America, but to the human race. If you feel the way Cracker Commander Riker does, fuck you, and fuck everything you stand for, and fuck the fact that your parents, I don't know, didn't just say, hey, get the fuck out of here, you're a goddamn embarrassment. But then again, they were too goddamn inbred to realize they produced a piece of shit like you. And that goes for Cracker Commander Riker's parents and anybody else's parents. Like anybody that supports the insurrection attempts, or thinks that Donald Trump should have gotten a second term, or thinks that cops don't have a problem killing people that, aren't white. Yeah. There's a lot of issues, and I don't care if this divides people. I am sick to death of holding my tongue. Oh, wait, I haven't held my tongue for about 1.5 to 2 years, because I don't fucking care anymore. My show, deal with it. Anyway, so, of course, Riker was happy to beat up 3 minorities, because that's what people like him want to do, because they have such a small dick-minded complex. That's really all it is. This went on forever. Inside Cradle on Riker for 3. Oh, no, he got pinned by a black man. What's he going to do? Is he going to try to storm the Capitol? Goddamn idiots. Every single one of them should be charged and just publicly taken care of is all I'm going to say. Anyway, Sonya shows up and she lets the suspended Charlotte in the back door, which is an actual line used later. Okay, I'm going to get into this a little bit later. Anyway, Sonya's in the ring. Here's Charlotte. The ref she beat up is also there. Ed something. I don't goddamn care. Charlotte speaks flatly and apologizes, I think. And then he accepts it. It was a mistake. Sorry if I'd seen Rhea interfere. Charlotte then is reinstated. She makes the ref apologize, re-entered through the back door. I'm going to say this much about Charlotte. Okay, character-wise, I'm fucking sick of seeing her. I don't want to see her on WWE TV again. She doesn't give a shit about what she's doing in the goddamn ring. Her and Andrade, go off and be happy. Have kids, adopt kids, I don't care. Go to the goddamn planet, Uranus. I don't care. Go to Saturn. Go to friggin' Neptune. God of Neptune. No, I don't fucking care. Just get off of TV. You don't want to be there. Go away. Just go the fuck away. You haven't benefited anybody in about 3 goddamn years. The one good thing she's actually done in 3 years was, beat the shit out of Ronda Rousey at the, 2018 Survivor Series? That's it. It's not that Charlotte isn't a good athlete. I know she beat her body up, but you know what? It's time for you to fucking go. You don't want to be there. Get the fuck out of here. You haven't helped anybody. You hold the women back. She has devalued the women's division in WWE in general. She has not added to it. And she talks about, people like Rhea, a little bit later she talks about Rhea, cosplaying and stuff like that. And talking about her trying to be somebody else or whatever. Well, yeah, Charlotte, maybe you should try being somebody else other than Ric Flair's daughter. Which, yes, you are Ric Flair's daughter, but guess what? Ric Flair on his worst day is better than you will be on your best day. David Flair was at least more tolerable in the ring because he knew when to get the fuck out. Anyway, Pierce is mad at Sonya. I mean, he doesn't believe that she was like, oh, I was going to find you, this kind of stuff. Pierce feels that Sonya has usurped her powers. I think I read that correctly. And also, Sonya being aligned with Charlotte. This isn't going to work. Here's why it's not going to work. Name one alliance that Charlotte has had in the last few years that has helped. That alliance with Dana didn't work. To be fair, Dana was brought up way too soon, but no alliance that Charlotte has had. Yeah, you could say the 4 Horsewoman. Okay, cool, whatever. I don't care how great of an athlete Charlotte is. And yeah, this is kind of turning into a bit of a Charlotte rant / Raw review, but I'm sick of it. I'm goddamn sick of it. And I don't care what she does outside the ring. I don't give a shit. I don't want to see her in the goddamn ring. I am embarrassed. I want to mute my television. I want to break my goddamn television every time she's there. She has the most legit go-away heat. Like, turn the channel heat. Like, why the fuck are you even here? You don't give a shit about what you're doing. And it's like acting elitist. Well, I mean, I don't think it's hard for her to act like that. Just get out. Fucking go. This isn't even going to be the last time I talk about Charlotte. So anyway, Braun is then yelling at Adam Pearce and says, hey, remember that triple threat match? Well, Orton was pinned. I wasn't. I deserved to be in the match. You know, at WrestleMania Backlash, which, yes, they're still going with that. Braun, that's not how triple threat matches work. Braun, I know you're an idiot. I know you don't understand, you know, how viruses work or how masks work and stuff like that because you're an idiot. You're a meathead. You're a roid head. But come on, Braun. Actually, try to use some brains. It's as pea-sized as they are. And yeah, I'm starting to think the whole stupid thing with Shane was pretty accurate. But yeah, Braun wants a match with Drew. And if he beats him, he gets a shot at Lashley along with Drew. So that's a triple threat match. If Braun loses that, will he have a problem, you know, with it? Oh, what if he gets pinned? Well, no, I got pinned, but it doesn't matter. Braun will try to say that. Sheamus then says about Humberto that people like Humberto shouldn't be champion. Wait, I'm sorry, that's Triple H and Booker T. So he calls it the Thunderdome. And I know it's an accent thing, but seriously. Are You Loco essay? Great. Okay, we're going back to a song from the late 80s, early 90s, stuff like that. And we're also going full-blown racist. Hooray. They brawl. The passion of Carrillo is unloading on Sheamus. Stop thinking about it, Noah. I know you're thinking about it. Stop it. Get some help. So, MVP and Lashley have some grievances to address, but they won't tell the most Irish man that's not named Sheamus backstage. So then Sarah and Rhea, she will laugh at Charlotte playing rugby with the referees, and that she will concentrate on defending her title as well. Okay, MVP and Lashley, keep the championship on Lashley till WrestleMania 38. Give me just over a year-long run. Tell me that Lashley couldn't make that interesting. I mean, he could. Creative might not, but he could. We deserve respect. Do not have Lashley cut long promos. He cannot cut them. He says he can take them both. He's hardcore. This is lazy, repetitive booking. MVP. So yeah, that was pretty much it right there. They were airing their grievances. And then Riddle is back there with, again, the most Irish man not named Sheamus, said riding high. And he talked about stamping on... The segment was way better than it should have been because I really can't stand Riddle. But he says, I stamped on the Viper like a sexy little mongoose. It's like in Ricky Tikki Tavi, which I remember very well. Orson Welles was a voice in that. Back when Orson Welles at that point was the size of a Macy's Day float. But then Orton suggests teaming up. And like what it's like, you know, we have nothing in common. Well, we're both from Earth. We have nothing in common. Well, we both live on Earth. This shouldn't have worked, and I shouldn't have laughed. I did laugh at the Ricky Tikki Tavi line. I used to watch that a lot as a kid. I had a fucked up childhood. Fucked up adulthood, too. But anyway, Nia and Shayna are talking about no more distractions. Reggie is there, and then suddenly somebody gives her flowers. Nia, that is. Because Shayna has had enough. What has Shayna done to deserve to have to do bad comedy and bullshit with Nia? Seriously, I know she's a champion, but guess what? It's a women's tag titles. They don't fucking count. So it was Angel. Angel's here because they're going to have Angel and Reginald fight over the affections of Nia. Cue, they are fighting over shampoo thing that I tend to share about Booker and Edge. Yes, it was an actual feud that they had. They fought over a fake Japanese shampoo endorsement. I'm not kidding. WrestleMania 18 was weird. So Nia then takes the flowers and proceeds to hit either Mandy or Dana. I stopped caring, honestly. Deflowered one of them. And then Braun says he will destroy MVP and leaves. That's pretty much it. Because MVP is like, well, you don't want to be part of this. Why don't you back out of this kind of stuff? Why are the birds in Riddle's entrance? Why are Orton and Riddle a team? RK Bro. I do have to admit that is a pretty funny pun. Why are Shelton and Cedric the punching bags? Did they piss in someone's coffee? Oh, right, they're black men on WWE programming. So yeah, if Lashley's getting pushed, then Cedric and Shelton have to get devalued and pushed down and everything. And I know that Shelton's in his mid-40s, but he can still go. Cedric is really good. At this point, just release him and let him go somewhere. Just give him severance pay and let him go somewhere else. I mean, what the fuck else can they do? They have lost so many goddamn matches. Hey, the Viking Raiders weren't on there, which is probably a good thing because Eric of the Viking Raiders is just as dumb as his stupid twat wife. And I really hope that kid has a fighting chance to grow up smart. But I don't think so, because Eric's a goddamn idiot and a goddamn believer. It's like, oh, you know, all this bullshit with vaccines and stuff like that and everything. It's like, if you don't want to get the vaccine, fucking don't. But guess what, Eric? Don't spread your goddamn bullshit. All right. Why was this a thing? This is the first match, by the way, in the second hour, and we're 45 minutes in. 40 minutes of promos. Riddle totally misses the Broton and gets the victory. Okay, wait. There we go. I set fire to these things, but you can't hear fire on that, and I really don't want to set fire to anything when I got carpet in here. So anyway, you don't want to set fire to your carpet. It sounds very painful for everybody, but especially the person who's getting their carpet burned. I'm not here to kink shame you. Oh, well, only a bit. So, get your vaccine today, unless, of course, you're an un-American twat. You can piss off and, you know, pretty much fucking rot for all I care, like the undead. Because basically you're brainless like the goddamn undead. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. If you don't believe in science, fuck off, because you're goddamn idiots. Have your kids get the vaccine. Give them a fighting chance. You don't deserve a fighting chance, but give your offspring a fighting chance. So they can grow up and be smarter than you ever have been. So anyway, Asuka, Naomi, and Lana took on Rhea, Shayna, and the human equivalent of a diseased waterbed. That is what I'm fucking calling Nia Jax. I'm going to come up with different variations. Poor Rhea and Shayna having to team with the diseased waterbed. Lana is not good. She has tried. I'm not saying she's the worst. She's just not good. Rhea was scissoring Lana from behind. I'm just going to leave it right there. Her brutality, if you will. Mandy and Dana show up, and they throw water and get Shayna and Nia wet, you know, in succession. If I had to picture this stuff, and so do all of you people, why is Corey shouting so much? I mean, I could argue, why am I shouting? But I'm just doing a review. He is on an alleged big broadcast. Corey Graves, by the way, I think his commentary has gotten so bad because the tattoo ink is linked into his goddamn brain. And at this point, I really don't understand what the fuck Corey's saying. I don't think Corey understands what the fuck Corey's saying. Why is Nia so bad in the ring? How has she gotten worse? Melee and bullshit. Why did Lana get so many near falls on Rhea? And Nia just sits on Lana for the win. Because she's too lazy to learn anything else. Thanks, Dwayne. Thanks for bringing Nia here. Seriously, just keep The Rock away from WrestleMania. If you don't get rid of Nia, then I think you just keep punishing, you know, punishing us by just keeping Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Rock the Dwayne Johnson, if you will, because I don't think he needs to come back and face Roman Reigns because he's making too much money in Hollywood. Nia Jax is terrible in the goddamn ring. Okay, so Sonya basically says backstage to Mandy and Dana, Mandy has never, you know, had the best taste. And, oh yeah, by the way, you're going to take on Charlotte tonight. So they're reigniting this feud that was actually pretty good that they just totally cooled off. And Sonya needs to get back in the goddamn ring. Alexa then says, you can have your own Lily. Is it like the Calbrena in Final Fantasy IV? Can we please demolish it like the Calbrena? Yip yip ho ho. If you know what the Calbrena are, then you are you're an awesome video game fan. So, Alexa says, look into my eyes. If I look into your eyes, will you shut the fuck up, you goddamn little twink? Yeah, and I probably shouldn't use that. No, you know what? She's a member of the Lollipop Guild. That's what she is. So, think dark thoughts. Man, Hulk Hogan started spray painting on the side of a semi. Anyway, Lily made me do it. Did Lily make you do this really bad character? This is the worst thing in wrestling. This is the worst thing. This is the worst thing in any wrestling I watch. This is worse than anything in the NWA, and I've shit on some of the stuff, but praise a lot of stuff they've done. This is worse than anything in AEW, and they got their problems. This is worse than anything in New Japan. This is worse than the Great Okan. I hate the Great Okan. I am not faulting Alexa for trying to sink her teeth in this character, but they're making the doll bite back. This is stupid. This is fucking stupid. If you like it, fine. Fucking stupid. Anyway, not wrestling. Charlotte versus Mandy with Dana. Can Charlotte even pretend to care? Oh, no, she can't, because Charlotte wouldn't fucking care one goddamn bit if her life depended on it. So, anyway, more ref shenanigans. Yay! They're doing this shit. Remember when it worked with Charles Robinson and it got really old, but Charles Robinson had charisma and Ric Flair had charisma? Here's the problem. The ref has more charisma than Charlotte. Natural selection, 1, 2, 3. Mandy has improved, I will say that. Mandy gets a chance to shine when she's not teaming with Dana. And bless Dana, she's trying. Dana ain't cut out for the ring. Mandy actually has done pretty damn good. Hit a nice drop kick that Charlotte proceeded to not really solo that well because Charlotte Flair can't be bothered to fucking care. So Drew then yells at, the Irish man that's not Sheamus and says Braun is a monster complainer. Drew versus Braun because Braun, the main event, makes sense. Actually, for storyline, I guess it does. Big lads bashing each other. Lashley shows up and break. More big lads smashing. Braun nearly snaps his femur doing a superplex off the second rope. Please stop making big guys do that. Especially when Braun seems to get confused by shiny objects and science because he's an idiot like anybody else that doesn't believe in science. And then, I'm the monster. Arr. And then distraction. MVP gets knocked down. Then Dio and Dijak show up. Those are their names. And then they distract Drew. Power slam for 3. And then Drew's like, okay, you won. And then let's beat up Lashley. And then we go to the end. And that's it. That's it. You can't set fire to these notes. Really don't want to do that. Terrible show. Terrible. Terrible. Very few bright spots. One of the worst, if not the worst, if this isn't the worst Raw of the year, we're in trouble. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.